Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Trendy Indy. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. I'm your host, Jerry Gordon, your local real estate expert, and today I'm with my good friend, Josh Buhler, with Oakland Heating and Air. It's a good friend of mine, and I'm really proud of him. I'm really glad you're here today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Yeah, and the thing is that he's usually out with his guys, working his butt off, getting sweaty, so we're going to try to make this quick. But with that, I got to ask, because anybody who knows JB knows you got strong ties and you're proud of your Indy roots.
Absolutely.
So we've got Indy and Oakland. So can you tell me a little bit about the name, a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. Oakland Heating and Air. The name Oakland came from the street my grandma used to live on. And when I had the dream, had the vision, had the knowledge for HVAC, actually, I didn't, was still gaining the knowledge, but one thinking of what I was going to name this company, looking up on my desk is a letter from my grandma. She wrote me on my senior retreat. And just wherever I go, if there's other than getting my family out, if there's a fire, that's I'm grabbing that and running out. Absolutely. And her address is up top. She was old school, had the whole pad with her address, already fancy on there. And Oakland Terrace is the name of the street. And from when I got my license until she passed, which was my senior year of high school, like once a week I'd go over there and we'd just sit on her back porch, drink Coke, have Cheez-Its, and man, a lot of what goes into this company is kind of like what I learned from her. She's human. She wasn't perfect. She smoked, and part of those complications led to amputating from the knee down, and that happened. I think when I was in like 5th grade, but from 5th grade to senior year in high school, and she was widowed for a large part of that. My grandpa died in 8th grade. Her husband died when I was in 8th grade, but she never once complained. If it was ice, snow out, it didn't matter. She's coming out. I mean, she wasn't missing a chance. She loved her family.
So you got your work ethic from her.
Yeah, from her and my parents, both parents, absolutely. But just that mentality of like, hey, whatever's going on, you got to deal with it. You got to suit up and show up. And that's kind of how we started Oakland, and it's paid off for us and worked well. So.
Well, I'm sure she's extremely proud, not only that you commemorate her, but extremely for your hard work, for your passion.
Thank you.
And so with that, with Oakland Heating and Air, tell me a bit about your services. Are you only installing HVAC systems, or what are you doing?
Really, we're one of the only full-service HVAC companies in the greater Indianapolis right now, meaning we do both residential and commercial. Our license covers up to 25 tons here in Marion County, although much of our work is outside of the city. We're up in Carmel, we're in a neighborhood in Westfield right now, I think on our 26th house, doing full everything, furnace, AC, ductwork, stove, dryer venting, everything on the HVAC scope. But then a lot of our calls just start with, mom and pop calling in at home that their furnace or their AC is not working right. But whether it's a business or residential, we're one of the only companies in the city that offer both residential and commercial services. And then, yes, we do service, install, maintenance. We also have the commercial and residential duct cleaning machine, the RotoBrush machine. So basically anything indoor air quality, anything related to HVAC are covered on that scope is what we've taken care of, in the last 4 or 5 years.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned something about being on your 26th house. So what happens if someone happens to someone in the middle of the night? What happens then?
Well, we do offer 24-hour service. So right now, if you call our company phone number 24 hours a day, someone will answer or be calling you back within, 10 or 15 minutes. If the call comes in at 3 a.m., you might be getting a call back, 5 minutes later, wake up, get on our feet. But we do offer 24-hour service. And
what number is that?
317-987-6002.
All right. And so what are some of the basic tips? It doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees right now when you're watching or 10 degrees below. What are some tips, some easy tips that you would suggest for someone to keep their system in top maintenance?
Whether you are living somewhere where you own the system, or even if you're a tenant renting somewhere, the most important thing you can do as a non-qualified HVAC technician is to keep a good filter in your system. Usually if it's a 1-inch filter, I would recommend at minimum 4 changes a year. If you've got the fancier 4-inch filter, at minimum twice a year. That's the most important thing you can do. And then to have a licensed company also come out and maintenance twice a year to get you ready, once for your cooling season, once for the heating season, to bypass some of those midnight 2 a.m. calls when maybe it was just a dirty condenser coil or a low capacitor in your furnace. It could have been found on a maintenance last month. Can be addressed without, an SOS call in the middle of the night, when family's in town and whatnot.
Simple and efficient, no pun intended.
I like
All
it.
right.